Do a cutesy little montage of me like putting up all.
Like find another software.
Yeah.
Then for oh my god,
It's like
I remember when it's like I could say it all just fine to myself. That way no one remembers you.
yeah.
I hate being perceived.
I started it too. I was like, the topic of today's video. Like I'm actually a YouTuber. Like this is the only video you're getting. Hello. The topic of today's video is one very important to me. As an avid film watcher, internet user, and chronically online girl, I'm here to tell you all about Greta Gerwig and how she's drastically changed the movie scene for female writers and directors. The format of this video is directly inspired by a favorite YouTuber of mine, Nicole Raffi, and her series of video essays, all beginning with Chronically Online Girl Explains, which is an outlet of creative expression where Nicole Raffi summarizes online drama, celebrities' lives, movie recaps, and more. I urge you all to check out Nicole's videos if you are a fellow chronically online girl because she puts so much time into her content, which is entertaining as well as insightful. Greta Celeste Gerwig was born on April 8th, 1983, making her an Aries. While I'm not super into zodiacs, Aries signs are known for being ambitious and passionate, which I believe applies to Greta and her life well. She grew up in Sacramento, California, and attended an all-girls Catholic high school, graduating in 2002. Keep this in mind for later. While in high school, Greta was interested in pursuing a career in musical theater, but instead ended up attending Barnard College in Manhattan, from which she graduated in 2006 with a degree in English and philosophy. When applying to master's programs for playwriting, she was rejected from every single one. In 2006, Joe Swanberg reached out to Greta to be cast in his film LOL, this one, that came out that same year. This was Greta's introduction to mumblecore films, a subgenre of independent films characterized by their low budgets, focus on raw acting, and lack of overall plot in favor of realistic dialogue between characters. Britannica described LOL as a micro-budget and nearly plotless movie, which does align with the film's budget of $3,000 and IMDb synopsis of only the relationships of three men are examined through the use of technology. How riveting. While LOL wasn't a widely heard of movie at the time, it got Greta's foot in the door of acting. Some other mumblecore films Greta starred in include Hannah Takes the Stairs, also directed by Joe Swanberg, and released in 2007, and more importantly, Nights and Weekends, which Greta worked once again on with Swanberg. This time the two both wrote, starred in, and directed together. The movie was released in 2009, and the process of making it was rough for both of them. In a 2008 interview with Vulture, Greta detailed the rocky relationship between her and Swanberg at the time, outlining how they originally planned to make a movie about a happy couple, but quickly went off the rails. According to Greta, the two filmed the first half of the movie before getting into a huge fight and not seeing each other or speaking for over 3 months. When going into different film festivals around the country for Hannah Takes the Stairs, the two of them reconnected and eventually shot the second half of the movie over a year and a half after the original first half of the movie. After Nights and Weekends, Greta Gerwig was introduced to Noah Baumbach. Noah was a New York-based filmmaker who cast Greta Gerwig in his film Greenberg, which was released in 2010. The two later wrote and Noah directed the popular mumblecore film Frances Ha, which is widely regarded as Greta Gerwig's real big break into the movie scene. The black and white film was released in 2012, and Greta starred the titular role of Frances, a woman in her late 20s in New York City who was struggling to make ends meet as an artist, while also navigating the relationships in her life, notably with her best friend Sophie. The Criterion Collection hails Frances Ha as a wry and sparkling city romance that is a testament to the ongoing vitality of independent American cinema. When Greta was asked by NPR about her ideas behind the film, she said, "There's a kind of grace period where being a mess is charming and interesting, and I think when you hit around 27, it stops being charming and interesting, and it starts being kind of pathological." Frances Ha isn't a biographical film, but it draws loosely on Greta's experiences as an artist in New York City and the struggle of trying to be a person when you have little to fall back on. Which reminds me of one line in particular from the movie, where Frances says, "I'm embarrassed I'm not a real person yet."
I'm so embarrassed I'm not a real person yet.
Which is one of many relatable pieces of dialogue from the film. Despite being a woman approaching 30, Frances does not feel like she's at a stable point in her life, something many young artists can relate to. So, skipping ahead a few years, Lady Bird. I'm going to do my best not to incessantly ramble about this movie because it's one of my all-time favorites. Lady Bird is a semi-autobiographical movie written and directed by Greta Gerwig and released in 2017. The movie follows Christine Lady Bird McPherson, who is a high school senior living in Sacramento, California in the year 2002. Lady Bird attends an all-girls Catholic high school and is overall bored of her life, with aspirations of attending a liberal arts school on the East Coast. Ring any bells? While Lady Bird's character, played by the wonderfully talented Saoirse Ronan, holds many parallels to Greta's own life, she actually believes herself to be very different from the character. During an interview with NPR, Greta claimed the movie rhymes with the truth of her life. She then recounts being on the subway in New York and overhearing a conversation between two teenage girls nearby, one of them claiming she wants to live through something, a sentiment which found its way into the movie.
I wish I could live through something.
Aren't you?
Nope. The only exciting thing about 2002 is that it's a palindrome.
I find so many scenes from this movie memorable, not because anything particularly interesting happens, but because the rawness of the dialogue is incredibly accurate to the feeling of being a teenage girl, while the world feels so much larger than yourself and you just want to be part of something greater. This scene in particular, in which Lady Bird and her mother Marion, played by Laurie Metcalf, are in the dressing room shopping for a prom dress. Marion is nitpicking Lady Bird's dress and she responds, "I wish that you liked me." And to this Marion says, "Of course I love you." To which Lady Bird asks, "But do you like me?" This interaction is permanently etched into my brain as the strained and sometimes uncomfortable dynamic between mother and daughter is often shown as one-sided in film, while in reality it's a multifaceted issue. There are scenes in the movie where Lady Bird and her mother fight very harshly, and some scenes where they are shown to have a loving mother-daughter relationship. This complicated yet common dynamic makes the movie relatable to anyone who has been a mother or daughter before. In the previously mentioned interview with NPR, Greta touches on this, saying, "What I really wanted to do was capture this idea that one person's coming of age is another person's letting go. And I didn't want the character of the mother to fall into a category of either an angel or a monster, which is generally what I think happens with mother characters in movies." Overall, I think Lady Bird is a masterpiece of a movie, and while it doesn't have crazy action scenes or big flashy colors, it has the charm of a relatable coming-of-age story, and it does so with a sense of grace, but also deep passion, one only known by girls who have always dreamed of making it out. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, Little Women. It's really dramatic. While adaptations of Louisa May Alcott's 1868 book have been made for decades, Greta Gerwig's 2019 movie adaptation is widely regarded for being the best. Being the most recent retelling, it's strange that people enjoy Greta's film the most, but the modern nuance she adds is honestly what makes the film so uniquely impactful. Greta Gerwig's Little Women tells the long-haired story of the March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, and chronicles their lives in New England as young women during the Civil War era. A New York Times article by A.O. Scott says it best. He says, "It's as if the book has been carefully cut apart and reassembled, the signatures sewn back together in an order that produces sparks of surprise and occasional bouts of pleasurable dizziness. Instead of telling the story chronologically like other adaptations, Greta makes the choice to begin with Jo looking to get her writing published and being rejected because her story does not follow the traditional musings of the time. That being, by the end of the story, the female main character must be either married or dead."
I just feel like women, they have minds and they have souls as well as just hearts, and they've got ambition and they've got talent as well as just beauty. And I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it. But I'm so lonely.
The most memorable moments in the film are these moments, where Greta puts emphasis on the girls as being their own people and the importance of staying true to themselves and their ideals. The ending of the movie in particular doesn't just follow the plot of the book, but brings the parallels between the character of Jo March and Louisa May Alcott herself together. Two endings are presented. The original ending of the book, where Jo marries Professor Bear and they live happily ever after, and Louisa's ending, where her book is published and she lives the life of an author. This contrast of endings reminds the viewers that this wasn't just a story, it was the way women truly lived once, in a world where they were not valued for their work, but only for their faces. In another interview with NPR, Greta reflects on the film, stating, "Married or death is a 19th century trope for female characters, but I've heard conversations like that, where people want something different than you think they want. You think they want a sort of narrative that they've already had, and they don't. They're actually hungry for something else." To end the movie like the book and every other adaptation would align with Louisa May Alcott's original story, but it would be a disservice to her as a woman who wanted her voice to be heard through her writing. And lastly, I will be talking about Greta's latest film masterpiece, Barbie. Oh my god, where's my poster of Barbie? Oh my god. I printed one out, but I don't have it. Pretend she's right here. Pretend Barbie's right here. It's all just part of the plot. It's okay, we have Barbie at home. The Barbie movie was a cultural reset, to say the least. Released in 2023, Greta Gerwig's film was arguably just as impactful as the release of the original doll herself and needs no introduction. Barbie was the highest grossing film of 2023, raking in $1.4 billion worldwide. When Googling the movie for this project, I was honestly appalled by the near equal number of 5- and 1-star reviews, but I'm not surprised at how widely misunderstood the movie was among some viewers. I think going into the movie, too many people had one idea for it, that it would be some insanely profound statement about womanhood or a plasticized story of the iconic doll brought to life. In reality, the film was able to do both, and more. In my opinion, more people should have been open-minded when watching the film, and then maybe there would be a greater understanding of the important underlying message of the film. That being, Barbie is an immaculate movie with wonderful set design, costuming, and cinematography that brings together joy of childhood nostalgia and the reality of growing up as a woman. To push the film into a box is exactly why it needed to be made, and why it succeeded. Even in the Western world, where women have equal rights on paper, the work of women is often diminished and ignored in favor of men. In an interview with Film Comment, Greta views the movie itself as a strange paradox, saying, "The film is looking at the constraints of the box, and then there's me, the filmmaker, standing and looking at the box, but also the film has to acknowledge that me looking at the box is inside of another box." It's a bit convoluted, but the way that Greta is making a statement through the film, but within the film, there are more statements about the world, sometimes contradicting each other. The point of Barbie was to never solve the issue of feminism and the patriarchy, but to make the world more aware of how we interact with each other and showing the absurdity of it all through this vessel of a film. To conclude, wait, what's this? So, coming sometime soon is Greta Gerwig's adaptation of Narnia, and I know next to nothing about this. I never read the book series, so I can't say much other than I'm sure she'll do it justice. So, to end, I'll share a quote from Greta on making art from her Little Women NPR interview. She said, "I think wherever your age is, there are tools available now to actually make work and put it out into the world in some capacity, which are a little bit more accessible than they ever have been." Followed by, "I'm always on the lookout for artists who have a different trajectory or do things and then find their art and they perhaps start a bit later, because I think that they bring something else to it. So I think make your own work and start at whatever part becomes interesting to you." And maybe for you, that's now, watching this video. I hope this brought some insight to your life and was able to convey my feelings well about Greta Gerwig's life and her work. To have such a prolific female director in the movie scene, making beautiful art about the human experience, is a treasure, and I can't wait to see what more she creates and the lasting impact she'll have for generations. Thank you for watching. Like, shut the fuck up. Who do you think you are? Shut the fuck up. Well, of larger than necessary pictures. No, they're not. They're small. They can't even fucking see them. I actually did watch that one. I'm not putting that in the video, but I fucked it up. I was doing so well! Okay, we're gonna restart. So. Get it over with! Get it over with!
You can't help but interrupt me no matter what.
Oh, I'm interrupting you! I'm gonna leave this in. Guys, this bitch is interrupting my video!
Yeah.
It's so funny. I have media literacy. Media literacy is not dead. Be quieter walking down the halls. How dare you walk in your own building that you live in? I'm so insightful. Women. I love women. Oh, I'm gonna fumble this so bad. She was yapping here.
You were killing it.
Oh, I was killing it. Oh, imagine if I wasn't recording. Did I press record? I did.